Welcome to Real Estate Real Talk with me, Skyleigh. I'm a realtor, coach, and founder of Forever Kamloops and Forever Kelowna Real Estate Groups and the creator of Elevation Real Estate, the realtor coaching platform. After nearly a decade in this industry, I've built a business that gives me more freedom, more income, and more time with the people I love. And now I'm here to help other realtors do the same. This podcast is for agents who want to build a thriving real estate business without burning out. We talk about scaling smart and building systems so you can buy back your life, because life shouldn't feel like all work and no play. And if you're a buyer or seller tuning in, consider this your backstage pass. You'll hear unfiltered conversations with top agents and industry pros, giving you the same insights we share behind closed doors. Knowledge is power, and the more you know, the better you can advocate for yourself and work with someone who truly has your back. Let's get real. Rebecca Aitken, I am actually so excited for our conversation and to hear about your experience in the Kelowna real estate world, or Okanagan real estate world. You've been in the Okanagan for 35 years, you mentioned?
Yeah, we moved here in 1988 when I was still a teenager.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I love people who have been in their community for an extended period of time. I have been in BC and like across the interior my whole entire life, but I moved recently from Kamloops to Kelowna. My dad actually has lived here for the last 20 years, and I'm like, I need some lakes in my life instead of rivers. And I'm so in love with this like community and the city and everybody that I've met. And I can see why you've been here for as long as you've been here.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny. I still call where I grew up home, but it's not. I've been here way longer. And so I find it so funny when I'm from Manitoba originally. So whenever the sports teams are playing, I still have a little tinge of who do I cheer for, but it's always BC.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Everybody from like the prairies. I'm like, how do people survive there for so long? Because there's a number of people that I've met here in Kelowna that are from Winnipeg. It's happened so many times. And I'm like, here's another one from Winnipeg, another one from Winnipeg. And I'm like, I don't know how they survive in the prairies for as long as some people do. But I'm like, yep, come to BC.
You don't know. We don't know any different, right?
It's true.
So until you come here, I'll never forget the first time I saw the ocean.
Oh my God.
I'll never forget the first time driving through the Rocky Mountains. When you live in prairies, that's just not stuff you're used to. But there's something still so beautiful about a wheat field during harvest, or the sunsets that seem to last forever.
Yeah.
And so no matter where you are, if you look for it, you will find the beauty. That being said, I could never see myself moving back there.
Yeah.
BC is my home now for sure.
I've thought about it, and I'm like, if there was anywhere that I would want to live in Canada, like where would it be? And I can't see myself living anywhere else other than in BC. Like, I just can't. I also love like Maritimes. I think it's absolutely beautiful, but I just don't know if I could handle like the weather over there. But either way, everywhere has something beautiful. I just think that BC, we have all 4 seasons, and then we have desert climate. We have rainforest climate, we have the ocean, we have lakes, we just have so many things, the mountains, the heli skiing, the mountain bike. It's just, we have literally everything that you can think of. Like, I love British Columbia, and anybody who travels here, I feel like they're in awe of kind of what our province looks like. It's so beautiful. So
it is. And I love what you touched on, 4 seasons is something that particularly, that's why I love the Okanagan so much. And it's so funny. Like, I can remember one year, my son I think it was March, I want to say late March, he skied Big White. Then he went and he wakeboarded, and then he golfed all on the same day.
What?
It's crazy, but it's just, that's what we have available to us. There's so much here. If you're somebody who loves adventure, outdoors, or there's never ending stuff to do here.
Yeah.
And I love the lifestyle. It's a lifestyle where we live. It's really an Okanagan lifestyle is the way I would say it.
Yeah. It's beautiful here, which actually leads me into, because you've been in real estate 8 years now, you mentioned. Before that, you were in the dental field, and we were talking about how many dentist offices there are here in Kelowna. But it makes sense where
these professionals and doctors and lawyers, like these high net worth people, they want to be here. And I think it makes a lot of sense based off all the things that we're talking about. You can really have your cake and eat it too. So having all those dentist offices and like all these like professionals, and we have an abundance of opportunity here. And yeah, it's interesting how it's all made it so that the Okanagan is great for people to live, even if you aren't in that kind of like high net worth bracket for income. There's a lot of opportunity for people because the resources are here too, which is amazing.
It's challenging though. Like our market, as you well know, is very challenging for first-time home buyers and for young people. It's not impossible,
general, but yeah,
I think so. We always joked when we first moved here. Everyone said to us, "BC is bring cash."
Yeah, I heard that.
Like, but realistically, we are one of the most expensive provinces for housing.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm grateful for the little pockets that are more affordable. Like West Kelowna obviously is more affordable than being like right downtown in central Okanagan. And even just like on the outskirts, right? Like we have opportunities there, and it's not a 2-hour drive like the lower mainland, or if you're separating outside of Toronto, for example. So I am still grateful for that. But yeah, first time home buyers, I remember doing a lot of stepping stones for my first house to get to where I am with like my real estate portfolio. And I'm sure that you probably run into the same thing that I run into a lot, is where people want to have their cake and eat it too right out of the gate for high school, and you take on a $90,000 car loan plus, and then now you can't qualify for half of what you really want in the real estate world. I guess pros and cons, but at the same time, I'm happy that at least it's not a 2-hour drive on the outskirts to be in this lifestyle.
For sure. And I actually love working with first-time home buyers. I work with a lot of them. And I think it's just very important to set realistic expectations. And sometimes that means you can't buy right now.
Yeah.
You need to do A, B, C, and D. And I'm sure you're finding this too. So many more parents are helping. I always call it a living will. Like we're living inheritance. They're helping now when the kids need it, and they can benefit from seeing that. And so a lot of that happening. Lots of people actually moving into multi-generational homes where mom and dad are maybe in the basement suite and the kids are in the top part of the house. So there are options out there, but you have to be dedicated. Like home ownership a home always needs work, right? It's never just, you buy it and it's one and done, and then it just lasts forever and you don't have to do maintenance. I think people really have to understand, especially the younger generation, what they're getting themselves into, and financially the responsibility. And again, I find here for the Okanagan, lifestyle is such an important thing, especially for the younger generation. And so it really comes down to, what kind of lifestyle do you want based on the affordability? I know you want a mansion, but you still want to go on the trips and do all these other things. So you're going to have to choose what's going to be most important. So we have a lot of conversations around lifestyle and choices and what they want. And it's no fun being house poor. I've been there myself. So we really talk a lot about what that's going to look like for them, what's realistic and what's reasonable. And I'm thrilled I have such a great network of professionals who help with that. Like mortgage brokers are fabulous people to get those guys connected with right away, because sometimes that's a very sobering conversation, what they think they can afford and what they can afford.
Yeah, I hear you. And I love having those conversations and setting up a plan that's not, like you said, just we're going to get you a house and then we're never going to have a conversation again. It's okay, now that we got you the house, how can I connect you with somebody who's going to help you create the savings plan so that you can do the updates to the house that you want to do in 5 years, or remortgage and pull out some equity in order to buy an investment property and all that kind of stuff. The first-time homebuyers are a lot of fun. So what's your favorite part about working with first-time homebuyers?
Honestly, it's the educational part of it. I've created I don't want it to sound like, remember those books, I don't know, Microsoft for Dummies, or just step by step. So it's about 100-page book that I give them. It's like a manual for first-time home buyers. And it just walks them through everything. This is what a contract looks like. They've never seen a contract.
No.
They don't know. It's a flow chart of what an offer looks like, what the stages are, what could happen, what may happen. We may go here where they accept an offer, or no, they reject it, or they counter it. So it's just going through and explaining the process and helping them make those connections to a lawyer, to an appraiser, to a home inspector, to a mortgage broker. Lots of times they don't have those connections because they've never done this. I have homework for them where they have to answer some worksheets so we can figure out what their wants versus their needs and what the priorities are. And do they understand the difference between a want and a need?
Yeah.
So I just love the educational process of it and really helping them, because at the end of it, if we can get them in the market and building their own equity, that's a step to wealth and independence and financial freedom. And so it's really exciting to me. It's also exciting because it renews your faith in the next generation to see these young kids who really care about getting a leg ahead. And there's some super mature kids out there in their 20s who just really have their poop in a group. And so I love to work with people who are super motivated and just want to help themselves.
Yeah.
It's just really encouraging. I find it really encouraging. And they're so appreciative. Like, they're just really appreciative of someone helping them. They just need help. They just need someone to spend a little extra time and guide them through the process that isn't maybe mom and dad. Sometimes they want to try to do things on their own and they don't always want mom and dad's opinions or input. And so it's nice for mom and dad too to have someone else saying what they're saying. And then it's okay, maybe mom and dad know a thing or two, but it's an independent source helping them. And I don't know, I just really love that part of my job.
Yeah.
It's a great demographic.
I've actually noticed a little bit of a shift, and you touched on it a bit, because there was a point there, because I've been in real estate 10 years. And there was a point there where there was a lot of first-time home buyers that I was working with that was like wanting to have their cake and eat it too. And like mom and dad were like giving them everything. Like they didn't really have any savings themselves. They were getting all of the money from their parents. They were getting all the advice from their parents. Like it was very much like hand holding, and that they weren't able to actually stand on their own 2 feet and do it on their own. And I'm not sure exactly like what the shift has been, but you're right. There's a lot of first-time home buyers now, and the earlier generation before that, or was it newer generation that's coming out now, where they do really want to do things on their own. And I'm not sure if it's about the naysaying that kind of happened in the other group, and maybe they heard a little bit of it and they're like, nope, I'm doing it on my own. I don't want to have that narrative in the back of my head of what people are saying. Because yeah, I've definitely seen that shift too, where it's like, I want to do it on my own. I want to do my research. There was one first-time home buyer that I helped, I think it was last month or the month before. And she did so much research. And I was like, wow, I am so impressed. Like I have not seen anybody do the kind of research that she had done. And I actually asked her, I was like, I'm curious, like, where are you finding your information? Because all of her information was actually quite accurate. And lo and behold, she was very good at ChatGPT and asking the right prompts and narrowing it down to specific areas, right? Because there's so much information out there that's a lot of it's targeted at the States. And then even when you're here in Canada and you're researching things, there's a lot of blurred lines for crossover. So yeah, she was actually able to ask it specific enough questions that she was actually quite educated, and I was impressed by her too.
Which is great, because it's a team sport. Real estate is a team sport. You're never alone in this. Even the agent on the other side, we're working together for a common goal. And I've always been someone who so believes in cooperation over competition.
Yeah, me too.
And I think that's awesome. A part of our job is to empower them to take on some of the responsibility. I always encourage them, go drive around neighborhoods, figure out where you want to be, and then let's figure out if we can get you there or close to there. But sometimes until you go and you look, you don't know. And I don't know. I just think that's awesome that when they take on some of the responsibility. And I'm starting to notice too that they're way more into the sweat equity part of it too, and actually making it theirs and taking some pride in what they've done. Coat of paint isn't a hard thing to do, but it makes a huge difference, or changing out a few light fixtures. And you come over afterwards to see the place when they're in it, and they're just beaming because they've made it theirs.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to feel like a proud mama, even though they're not biologically mine. Like, I get very attached to my clients.
Yeah.
They become lifelong, like, they're my people now.
Oh,
And so I go and I love to go and visit and see them once they're settled. And it's super rewarding just to see them make it their own space.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I go to like kids' birthday parties and like their housewarming parties. And I'm really attached to my clients too. Like I want really what's best for them. Like I feel the same way. And I'm actually really happy that the industry is going that direction more, because it's a really big investment for people and it's a really big deal. And I think that in every industry, there are people who are not built equally. And so I love that as there are agents raising their standards and caring more about the relationship as opposed to the transaction, that it's bringing up the standard of the people around us as well, which is amazing. So it's really nice to hear that there's actually quite a few agents that I've chatted with that seem to feel the same way you and I do, which is amazing.
Yeah, I think so. Most of the people that I come across that I work on across the aisle or across the deal or whatever you want to look at it, I really do feel that way about them. And I think that's why, again, I never really worry about the competitive nature. Like some people are, oh, it's cutthroat. No, it's not. We're all individual. We all have our own secret sauce, if you want to put it that way. And we all bring something different and unique to the table. And I think that if we could just sometimes get ourselves out of the way, our industry would actually, I think, look a lot different and a lot more positive, especially in the public's point of view. I think sometimes realtor doesn't have the best connotation, and it should, because I would say the most people that I know and work with, we work super hard for our clients. And it isn't just about, a transaction. It's about the relationship and the interaction with that individual and doing something really incredible for them and being a part of that. And it is a privilege. And I do think most of my colleagues feel that way. I would say across the board, I really do believe that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. So then we've chatted about the first time home buyer kind of niche. And then I know you had said that you also are focused on like empty nest phase and downsizing. So can you tell me a little bit about that and what kind of sparks your fire for that?
Yeah, the free birding. I think part of that is because that's where I'm living right now. As a mom of two who have flown the coop, and it's just me and my husband and our fluffy puppy now. That's in my mind because I'm going through that. And so many of our friends are going through that. Either it's kids heading off to university or kids finding their first homes, or also looking at our parents now who are of the generation where it is time to downsize. They're living in their family houses where they raise their kids, and they've got full floors that aren't even being used. And so it's also helping my parents think about, okay, it's time to downsize. And what does that look like? Aunts and uncles, it's time to downsize. And what does that look like? So those two, the empty nesters and the downsizers, that's where I'm living right now. So for sure, I can relate, and I see a need for that. I see a lot of people staying in their homes longer than they need to. A couple of things that I find so interesting is you don't realize is financially it's holding you back a little bit. When you downsize and you sell that home that's, let's just say you're in a 2,600 square foot home and maybe you're going to downsize to 1,600 square feet. There's a big difference financially in cost and maintenance for those two properties. Mm-hmm. And it just frees you up to go and do some fun things in your golden years, if you want to call it that. And I think sometimes people wait way too late till they don't have the choice and now they have to move. And maybe that move is now into a care facility. And now they're scrambling. It's so stressful. Downsizing is a very stressful process, and you can't really do it overnight. You need to take your time. You need to mentally get prepared to do it. I give them tips. I always give my clients, here's some tips. Here's how I think you should start looking at this. It's not something you can just say, I'm going to do it tomorrow and it's going to be done. Yeah. It just doesn't work that way. You've got a lifetime of memories likely in your house. And so it's really about, how do you want to live moving forward? What do you want to do? It's not even always about age. It's about stage of life. For some people, maybe they got a schwack of grandkids that are constantly visiting, and that family house suits that purpose. It's a great reason to keep it because you're the local, you're the central, and everyone comes to you. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe you're going out to all of their houses and your home is just this great big expensive home that you're not even using a third of. So it's just interesting. There's questions I ask them, but usually they come to me and say, I'm just wondering, when's the right time to downsize and what does that look like? And so I have tips that I send them and give them and suggestions. And again, I think it has to work for you. You have to be ready. You're either ready or you're not. You can't make someone downsize if they're not ready. It's an emotional process.
Yeah, as you're talking, I'm thinking about a couple different things that kind of happened in my life, and I've had to downsize and shift things away. Like I mentioned, I'm a single mom, so like I went through a separation and then moving to Kelowna. So then when I still have my house back in Kamloops and I'm renting it out, but I went from a big house and into a stacked townhouse here, in which the square footage is quite similar, I would say. However, there's a handful of storage things that are not there. So then trying to downsize all of the things from like my marriage and like things that I need to keep, don't need to keep, do my kids really need these things, and splitting their stuff between their dad's house and then my house, all of that. Like it's emotional trying to do that. It took me like a year and a half, I think, to actually, and I'm still going through things. Or like the very first family home that I ever had is also being sold. It was one of my investment properties, and now that one's going to be sold too. It's super emotional. So how do you help? We wear multiple hats in real estate. We've talked about that already. And you're like a counselor and you're like giving some legal advice and you're writing contracts, but then you're also like, so many different hats. So how do you help people emotionally when it comes to that kind of stuff? Because it's so heavy.
I think you have to just give them permission to take time. Take time to do this. And also, I really encourage them. It may be one drawer a day. It may be 15 minutes a day. Do not set out unrealistic goals or you will burn out and it's not going to happen. You have to give yourself permission. And I encourage them to think about everyone goes, okay, I'm going to get rid of what I don't like. Actually, I say, start by thinking about your favorites and what you're going to keep. Start with those. Those are the non-negotiables that you know you want to keep. And then once you know what you're going to keep, then you have a better idea of how much space you have left. And then I think it gets easier to the stuff that you're maybe not as connected to let that go. Yeah. Now, where it becomes really difficult is I have worked with a couple of clients who are collectors and they really struggle. It's a real struggle. I've been there, like literally in my work clothes, in the pile of mess, trying to help them. And it is anguishing to see how hard it is for them even to let go of a phone book from 20 years ago. And so you have to just understand that everyone is different, that you're there to help, not to push, and that you have to give them time. And again, I know we've heard it all before, but people say, how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time.
You reminded me of that too, yeah.
Yeah. And so you have to have permission. But I would say too, I encourage them. I've been doing this with my in-laws recently. I'm like, the things that you want to pass down to the family, do it now. Gift it to them now. They understand then, okay, this is important. Look at this beautiful china that was my grandmother's. If you explain that to them and say, I really want you to have it, not only will it maybe become more important to them, but then you can come for dinner and I'll serve you on that china and you still get to enjoy it. So start doing that now. Don't wait, because what we often see when, I'm sure you've dealt with this, when someone's passed and now the kids are dealing with probate and selling the house, so much of it ends up going in the trash because they don't know what to do with it. They don't have a connection to it. They don't understand the importance behind it. They may not even know it was grandma's china.
Yeah.
And so it's just little things that you try to encourage them to do. But again, ultimately, it's just having patience and understanding. It's a huge process and it is emotional. And I just sometimes just need to stand with them and listen to the story. There's so many stories connected. It's crazy how much you get to learn about your clients when you're with them trying to sort out some of the stuff, because there's so many stories connected to all those memories and all that, what we think is just stuff or junk. It holds their memories. And sometimes I say to them, take pictures. Let's just make one picture album that has all these memories of the pictures of that stuff, and you can let it go, but you will still have pictures that you can look back, and then you can have those stories still. So sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't, but just trying to encourage them through the process.
Yeah, it's super helpful. And I heard this on Facebook or Instagram or something. It was a reel on a podcast that I was listening to, actually. And it said, emotion talks to emotion and like logic talks to logic. So when someone's feeling like emotional about going through all this stuff, I think you listening to their stories and letting them tell you about the history of different things, that's you like meeting them with emotion, as opposed to being like the pushing part where it's, okay, logically, this doesn't make sense. And it's helpful for them. And a lot of times I feel like people just want to be heard. They don't want you to necessarily fix it. They just want to know that you're listening and that you're hearing them and that you're like understanding like what they're going through and how hard it is.
Absolutely. And that is where the relationship comes in. And if you're a relational agent, then you do that. If you're a transaction agent, then probably you don't want to work with a client like that.
Yeah.
But I do. I'm so curious by nature, and I find it fascinating to hear about their history and where they've been and why they've been there and why this is important. And I don't know if a lot of realtors do this, but I purposely limit the amount of clients I will work with at one time so that I have time to dedicate like this to my clients. It's important to me. It's really important to me.
Yeah.
And maybe some people would think that's crazy. That limits your ability to make money, but money is not my motivation. It's a piece of it, but it's not my motivation. It's not my why I get up in the morning and do what I do.
No, exactly. And I think when you do have the financial aspect being your biggest why, you're not going to last in the industry because it's a tough industry. So you need to have a deeper why than that. And you went through the personal experience. Like you said, I was like, what is it that lights you up about the downsizing and the empty nesting phase? And you said that I've been there. So it's nice that you've been there, because now it's something that you can help them with firsthand experience. Because otherwise it's hard to resonate with people who haven't been through the same thing as you.
Totally. Right? You find common ground. That's what humanity is about. But I think, especially having just been through all of this and living it, you have empathy that you maybe wouldn't have otherwise. I know how hard it is to change one of my children's room into my office. It didn't feel very good at first. Now I'm okay with it. In the beginning, it feels like you're mourning. You're mourning. It's a change of what the family dynamic looks like and what life looks like. But it's also a great time of life. And it all depends on how you look at it. Like, mindset is everything.
Yeah. It's a super exciting time.
Yeah. I loved every minute of having the kids. That was great. No one told me it was going to go so fast. But I also love now getting to be more of a friend and a mentor to my kids. And I get to watch them soar. Like, I've done my job for the most part. Yeah. And my job was never to keep them. My job was to let them go out and be their own people.
Yeah.
And so I've done that, and they are their own people. And now it's time to just get to figure out who I am again. And it's a really fun time of life. Yeah. It's great.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I want to ask you about the mindset piece, but first, quick question though. I don't know how old your kids are, but do you have grandkids yet?
I do not. I have furry grandkids. I have a 28-year-old and a 25-year-old.
Okay.
So no grandkids yet.
You know what's funny? I'm like in my early 30s, and I keep talking about how excited I am for like the day for like me to have grandkids, which is ridiculous. And I understand that, but my mom has just lit up having grandkids. And I'm like, I'm so excited for like them to go and build their own lives, like you said, and then around holidays and whatever, and when they need me, they can call and they can come back, and we're gonna have these big dinners. And I'm like, I get to play with them and then send them back. I'm gonna back them up with sugar.
That's what they all say. I don't know, but it is a phase of life my husband and I are very much looking forward to, if we're blessed in that way.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
never
we
know.
know, but we've got a few great nieces and nephews who are pretty awesome little people. And so we're getting a little bit of that. And we've got some great friends that they let us come and babysit. We love to go and babysit. We loved that age. We loved
Yeah.
that stage. And so we get a taste of it, but it won't be the same until it's our kids having those babies, right?
Yeah.
Our true grandbabies. So we're ready for it, but our kids aren't there quite yet. So again, we just have to be patient.
Yeah. It's the same for me. I'm like, I snuggle all the newborns, but I'm like, I have a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old now. I don't want another newborn, but I'm like, I'm going to love the crap out of my friends' newborns. And then here you go. Crying baby, give you back. So funny. We don't have a whole lot more time, but I did want to ask you a little bit about mindset because, like mentioned before, real estate it's a tough industry. There's a lot of hats that we wear, and you're doing all of your own paperwork and everything too. So I think mindset is super important. So I'm curious to know how you keep that in a green zone and healthy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I will say to you that I unfortunately had to learn a little bit about mindset the hard way. 13 years ago, this month, actually, this week, we were in a very bad car accident on the connector. And we thought we lost our son in that accident.
Oh, no.
And I ended up with significant injuries that I will live with for the rest of my life. And first 2 years after that accident was very difficult, mentally, physically, emotionally. And it was really through there that I really started to see that I have a choice every day. That perspective has a massive effect on everything, mindset. And I can choose to have gratitude, or I can choose to be miserable in spite of the circumstances. Because here's the thing, I can't control so much of the stuff that happens in my life, but what I can control is how I react to it. My choices, that's what I have control over. So for me, mindset is so important, and it starts for me with gratitude. I recently heard someone say too that the best gift you can give another person is your well self. And I think as women here, I'm going to talk about this a little bit, as women here, especially you're a single mom with 2 young kids. It can feel very selfish doing things for ourselves that fill up our tank. But it is the most important gift you can give the people around you because no one else does it for you. You say we wear so many hats. We do. And it's not just about me as a realtor. It's about me as a wife, me as a mom, me as a person, me as a member of my church, me as a daughter, everything. Everything has an impact on whether I feel exhausted and beaten down and have nothing left to give anyone, or whether I have something in my tank. What am I doing to fill up my tank? And so for me, I call them non-negotiables. Every day I exercise. Every day I exercise. It doesn't matter. 7 days a week I exercise. Now that could be a walk, that could be going to the gym, that could be a bike ride. That is huge, not only for me physically, but for my mental health. And I learned to say no and start saying yes to myself, and maybe having to say no to others, which was a really hard thing to do. I always wanted to make everyone happy. I wanted to do everything. We can't.
Yeah.
We can't do everything. And so mindset is so important. And I think not just mindset, but leadership as well. And that could just be getting a great book and reading a book. It could be doing things to benefit you education-wise in your industry or not. It could be nothing related to real estate. In fact, I would say I always try to do half and half. Personal growth that's in my industry and outside of my industry. But I think really what it comes down to is making those choices to be grateful. Even on the worst day, if you choose gratitude, there is something to look back on and be thankful for. There's always something positive that happened in that day. And maybe it's you were able to get up and get dressed and do one thing. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but you just need to choose. And there are times where we have bad days, and that's okay too. You just have to make sure that doesn't become your default setting. And so for me, I would say to you, it's funny, I say it now, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I really changed my perspective and I changed my choices And I am such a better version of myself because I was forced to have to choose gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Someone said this to me once. I can't remember. This was many years ago. I'm a very glass half full person. And there's a lot of times, like, you do run into a lot of glass half empty lots and lots. And there was a point where I was going that direction, and I can't remember who it was that said it to me, because I think I was complaining about something many years ago, and they said first world problems. And I was like, "Ooh, you put me into perspective right there. Holy cow." And I don't think they'll, yeah, I'm like, I don't think I'll ever forget that, because it's very true. And we can have bad days, I agree. But trying to bring yourself out of your funk quickly, yeah, there's a lot of things that.
And I think you really have to, again, be intentional about finding joy. What is it that instantly makes you happy? And invest in that. For me, that's nature, that's music, there is beauty everywhere if you open your eyes and your heart to look for it.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about gratitude. There's gratitude everywhere. You can be grateful. It doesn't have to be big things. It can be small things.
Yeah.
And the more you open yourself to that, the more you see it, and it's everywhere. And I believe it comes back to you. You know what it's like when you even just holding a door for someone, or you see someone smile at you, you can't help but smile back. Or even my dog is a huge part of this, but how can you be grumpy when you've got a puppy who loves you unconditionally, is so happy to see you? Go spend time volunteering at the SPCA if you don't have your own animal. There's so many things you can do to find your happy place, whether that's through your job. I'm really lucky, so are you. We love what we do.
Yeah.
Absolutely love what we do. Tons of my joy and fulfillment comes from what I get to do every day. But if that's maybe not you, then figure it out, find out what it is. Because again, you can choose that. You don't have to stay in a job that you don't love.
Yeah.
You can change. That's something you can control. And so it's mastering the things you can control and letting go of the rest of what you can't.
Yeah. I definitely
don't waste any more energy and time on the things you can't control. Just figure out what you can and make that the best.
Yeah. 100%. And I also feel like you need to put the oxygen mask on yourself so that you can feel like pour into others. Cause like, if your cup's not full, you're going to have a really hard time helping everybody else. And our job as moms and as like real estate professionals and partners to our boyfriends and husbands and all the things, like we're constantly solving other people's problems. Like, I've made jokes before where I'm like, I need an Ask Skyleigh booth. But I'm like, I can't be at my Ask Skyleigh booth if like my cup isn't also full. So I feel the same way, like having your non-negotiables. I actually have caught myself a number of times being like, why am I having such a hard time today? And then I just go outside and enjoy the sunshine or play with my flowers for a bit. And I'm like, okay, I feel better. And now my Ask Skyleigh booth is open again.
And isn't it amazing that it really doesn't take much to fill us?
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
That's what really blows my mind, is you would think that, oh, I've got to go away for a weekend to a spa. No, you don't. Sure, great. I'm not saying don't do that, but it does not take much to just invest in myself. I invest in everybody else. Why wouldn't I invest in myself?
Yeah.
And I learned that lesson way too late into life. And so for me, I just think, make sure you're doing things every single day that are just for you. And it's not selfish. It's not selfish because you have to take care of so many other people. And you can't do that if you're half a person on a dead battery all the time. It's just not possible.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I'm so happy with our conversation today. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and being such a wonderful guest.
Thanks for having me.
I was going to quiz you on those designations that you have. So I'm going to circle back to these designations because I am wildly impressed by you. And I want people to find you on all your social profiles and websites. And yeah, you guys, if you want to chat with Rebecca, whether you're a buyer or seller that is listening to the podcast to get like a backstage pass to what a real estate professional should look like that you pick, or even if you're a agent in the industry and you're like just trying to grow and learn from somebody like Rebecca, your designations, there's the ABR, and we're going to do the quiz because I think that's fun. ABR, what's that stand for?
Accredited Buyer's Representative. And it's actually one of the things I'm most proud of, because in British Columbia, I think there's only, like for the whole province, last I checked, there's only maybe about 26 people that have it, and only about 6 in the Okanagan.
Oh my God. Okay. And then SRS.
So that's a seller representative specialist. It's just extra education that I've taken to help buyers and sellers. Both of those are.
Amazing. Okay. And then AREN.
That is accredited real estate negotiator.
Amazing. These are all trademarks too.
It lends itself with the other one you're going to mention too.
Yes, the MCNE, which I'm pretty sure is the Master Certified Negotiation Expert, right?
It is, because you have that.
I do have that one, but it's funny because I'm like, oh, I cannot remember. I actually have 2 of the Certified Negotiation Expert. I think there's the original CNE and then there's the MCNE. But
yes, you can't get your MCNE without having your CNE first. So really, and same with a few of these other ones, like you sometimes have to take multiple courses to achieve them. So it's just, it's about continuing education. It's about bettering myself to bring more skills and expertise to the table for my clients. I think it's hugely important that especially the negotiation aspect, that's what they're hiring for us for. That's what they're paying us to do. And so we should have excellent skills in that area. And I mean, for me, it was just a no-brainer to do it. I like to do something every year, whether it's read a book or take a course. We do, in the profession, we do have continuing education credits that we do have to take. But I always like to do something that I'm interested in too, that I think will benefit the people that I work with and the people that I don't work with, like just the people in my life who are around me, my friends and my family.
Yeah, me too. I'm always doing something for extra education courses and all the things. Also, I just realized you were recognized as top 40 over 40 for the 2025 Kelowna Chamber of Commerce. I was at that event and I didn't see you. Oh my God, I can't believe we were just like breezed right by each other.
Crazy, eh?
So funny. But
congratulations. Huge honor. Yeah, the cat's out of the bag. I'm over 40.
Like, guys, what are you telling my secrets for?
No, that was honestly such an unexpected and huge honor. When I look around the room at the other 39 candidates, it's really humbling to even be included in that group of people. That is just a massive blessing and something that I will just really forever be special to me.
That's amazing. Yeah, congratulations. And then where can people find you? Because I'm going to put your links in the show notes, but what's your favorite way to be reached out to?
Oh man, honestly, give me a call, email me. Love to get together and talk, see if I'm a good fit, if I can help you. I've been so fortunate. Most of my business is referral and repeat. And I got such a great, mighty group of friends who support me incredibly, and an incredible family who does the same. But I'm always happy to help anyone who needs help. And whether you're buying and selling, you can give me a call at 250-300-6108. You can find me if you just put my name in. I'm sure it comes up in a cajillion million places as well. Mm-hmm. Royal LePage Kelowna, there's a link to my website. If you go there, you can find me under the Realtor tab. Yeah, there's many ways to get a hold of me. I do have some social media as well, Instagram, Facebook, things like that. But yeah, I'm happy to talk anytime.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And that's the wonderful thing about the internet. It's not hard to find anybody nowadays. So
that's right.
Easy. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
That's a wrap on this episode of Real Estate Real Talk. Whether you're an agent building your business or a buyer or seller trying to get the real story, thanks for being here. If this episode gave you clarity, confidence, or just something to talk about, I'd love for you to follow, rate, and share the show. It helps more people find these conversations. If you have questions or want to connect, head over to SkyleighMcCallum.com or come hang out with me on Instagram. Thanks for listening, and I hope you catch the next episode on Real Estate Real Talk.